3-1 against the Montreal Canadiens, and the series is tied 1-1, and all of a sudden winning 3 out of 4 games doesn't look as complicated now. How exciting, we got ourselves a series, and now it's a best of 3. Which, funnily enough, the NHL didn't really want things to be a best of 3 because if Carey Price could win that. So, not out of the woods yet! Alright, let's run down the score sheet. Sorry I didn't put one up for game 1. I was in Barrel looking at waterfalls. It was, I needed a holiday. It's been a long 6 months. I think we can all agree with that. I needed a weekend off, so that's all fine. So here we are for game 2. I'm going to run down the score sheet, and for those who are new around here, that's just me reading out all the players who scored as fast as humanly possible. And Kotkaniemi scored. Scorers of the game were Crosby, Zucker, Kotkaniemi, Gensel. Oh god, Kotkaniemi and Kotkaniemi. There we go. Jesus. Crosby, Zucker, Kotkaniemi, Gensel. Nah, I stuffed it off again. Crosby, Zucker, Kotkaniemi, Gensel. A little bit. I could do better. Crosby, Zucker, Kotkaniemi, Gensel. Yep, bang. That's the one. That's the one. So those are your scorers for the game. Which makes the final score 3-1 against the Penguins. And let's run through the game, shall we? So the Penguins came out flying. Shades of game 1. They looked very good. Shots were 10-2 early on, about the halfway point of the first period, and just looked dominating. And it was capped off at 4:25 with an unreal pass by Jake Gensel, who very similar pass to the exhibition game when he found Sherry and he was able to score. Just a perfect pass in between a Crosby with Amia was flying back behind Crosby, just a little bit too slow. Left Crosby just a little bit open to do that wide spread. You know, when he just goes wide. Sticks his legs wide and shoots it along the ice. Jeff Merrick on Twitter wrote, "I don't think there's a player that can shoot a puck as hard along the ice as him. Maybe Patrick Kane. He has a pretty solid shot along the ice sometimes. But, oh boy, and it is 1-0. It is the perfect start. They are rewarded for a good start, unlike in game 1. So fantastic. Malkin and Letang, who I didn't think played too well in game 1, looked very good early. That at least that's in the notes, but that note doesn't hold up for too long, does it? Both special teams struggled, well, at least on the power play side. I guess on the penalty kill side, they both were great, but we won't talk too much about the power play in between the game. I'll bring it up now. The Penguins' power play was terrible. They mixed up the lineups. They changed players. Malkin was in the bench at one point, so he couldn't get it going. So 0 for 5. 0 for 5. And I know, in between that, there are some, shorter stints, but there was one time they looked like scoring, and that was Chris Letang kind of jamming a rebound through, and Honkus was on the ground just, having a fit and throwing a stick around. He'd be the worst to play against. And the Montreal Canadiens were just able to Matt Murray, I think, on 2 of those power plays, probably held the puck more than any Penguin did. Just from getting those dumps and just being like, here you go, Letang, back again. So I don't know how to fix this. I thought Malkin may have been the odd man out, but it's definitely not him. That's the problem. I think maybe being a little bit more mobile, maybe taking Hornquist off it, and just sort of just trying to be a little bit more mobile on the power play, that might help. Maybe trying to get the puck behind the net. It's really doing my head in on just how boring the power plays are. They're just not productive. There's no innovation happening. They're just really in their heads about it. And it just seemed to be, as the game went along, the power plays got worse. The first power play wasn't actually too bad. They didn't have amazing shots, but they held the puck. They had a couple of good chances. I know Malkin had one, but he wasn't able to squeak it through. But at least, there were some chances. But nothing good. There was a point when the Montreal Canadiens had delayed call coming and they passed it back, and I actually thought it was going to go into their net, but Carey Price had gone off the ice at that point, but I was like, go! That would have been the best. I haven't seen a goal like that in a while. So that would have been great, but not to be. So the Penguins have a pretty commanding lead going in. They've limited Montreal shots, and yeah, so they're looking pretty good. Second periods rolls in. Matt Murray's looked pretty good thus far. Even towards the end of the second period, made the saves that he needed to. Some players had some really good chances, but this period really just happened, if that makes sense. There wasn't really much to talk about. It just kind of kept going. I just kept going like, oh, there mustn't be much time left in the period, and you look up on the clock and there's 13 minutes, and you're just like, how is this still going? Like, just no one seemed like they were going to score. Kotkaniemi had a really good chance. That was a cross crease. Murray did quite well to save that. And Kotkaniemi had another good chance that was at the slot as well. And Murray, this is the thing that he didn't do last game, is he came out and he was big. So I have a lot more confidence in Murray after seeing him this game than I did last game. In the fact that he gave up some juicy rebounds, although one of those juicy rebounds did result in a little bit of back sweat on this little Penguins fan, but that's okay. But yeah, the Penguins just kept out shooting them, but they weren't really threatening chances. And again, like outside of that Letang chance, just nothing huge. And the only thing that was really a highlight was Bob Airey was pissing me off on commentary comparing Peter Forsberg to Sidney Crosby, where I don't think anyone has ever made that comparison ever. And he was like, yeah, it's a comparison, and just, oh god, it was hard to listen to him on commentary a few times tonight, and that was one of them. It was just like, oh god, can someone just mute his mic just for 2 minutes? Just give us two minutes. Oh, just get him to go make a coffee or something. I mean, he's not terrible. I don't hate him as much as other people do, but sometimes we just need a third person in there to just be like, all right, we'll just need a bit of a break. We just need a reprieve, and then it'll be okay. Shots at the end of the period were 29-13, so very much Penguins' way. And this is where the game kind of changed, and it makes sense why. The Montreal Canadiens had to score, the Penguins just had to be perfect. And it almost started horrendously as Tatar had a massive chance within 20 seconds, but Murray again making the save, being steady there, being the player that he needed to be. Canadians started to get some really good shots from their D, but everything was saved. The defenders were able to either gobble up the rebounds or just prevent really heavy screens. Like they were able to kind of just push people just that little bit out of the way so Murray could see. So I was very impressed with the D core this game when it came to just defending. One or two mishaps, but I mean it's going to happen in a game. But yeah, they did very well in just boxing out the Montreal players. Montreal in the third tried to play a bit more of what I consider their game to be, which is speedy. They were really trying to score, but yeah, just couldn't. Then Sherry gets the puck. If I could turn back time. Because he likes to be called Sherry. Yeah, it's like sure. It's not very clever, I know. I give it to you. It's not my best. Definitely not my worst. He gets the puck, holds it for a little bit, finds Zucker in front of the net, just a beautiful pass, and it is 2-0. Very happy Zucker scored. He's kind of wasted a couple of chances, but he's one of those guys that you just like, if he gets it together, that's the straw that stirs the drink. Like that's a player that can get us to go deep if we can get some scoring from him. It's going to be pretty big. Then it got weird because Montreal, around the 2-minute mark, wasn't pulling their goalie. And it was kind of like, oh, that's a little bit odd. But worked out to be a genius move by the coach. And Kotkaniemi gets a juicy rebound after a shot from the blue line. And he just, pumps that thing in, and it is 2-1. And all of a sudden, there's a game with 2 minutes to go. However, Montreal then pulled their goalie with 2 minutes to go at the center face-off, which just made no sense to me. That, like, they had the puck 2 goals down in the offensive center, they didn't pull the goalie, but when they're 1 goal down and at center ice they're pulling their goalie, it almost cost them immediately, because Crosby almost scored. Bluger almost got one up the ice. It never really looked like Canadians were going to score after that. They're just kind of too busy defending the empty net, and it didn't seem to be a good time. Like, get the puck forward, bring in the extra forward then. Would make sense to me, but yeah, they just seemed like constantly they couldn't get it in the zone, they couldn't get zone entries, and ultimately Jake the Snake fires the dagger into the Montreal Canadiens, and the series is now 1-1. The game is 3-1, and that's it. That's all she wrote. Let's go to the stars of the game. So my third star is Sidney Crosby. Of course, it's Sidney Crosby. Opening goal. He's like right up there in the list of like opening goals in playoff games. He's got 16 of them now, and the record's 19 by Gretzky. So he's not like horrendously behind. And he seems to get these goals early. Like there's been a few that he's got in the first minute, but yeah, massive goal that really set the tone for the Penguins. Second star for It's Hockey Night, I give to Matt Murray. I thought he had a really good game. Probably got the first star if he got the shutout. However, that one goal was kind of like, ooh, no. I know that goal probably doesn't happen if Dumoulin's not tripped up, but I mean, still. I mean, it was a goal. So, yeah, second star. And first star was a player that really impressed me today was Jake Gensel. An assist. He was a massive part of that Sidney Crosby goal. And obviously getting the empty netter himself. He also led to a few other chances being scored. I mean, you can't take away from his performance on the power play because everyone's performance on the power play was terrible. So I think maybe getting him out there a little bit more might help. I just don't know how you fix this power play. Other notes of the game. I really liked the fourth line. Really enjoyed their play. They had good vigor out there. They were brouhaha. And they're what you want from a fourth line. They were scrappy. They weren't an issue in their own zone. They did what they had to do. Chris Letang looks like he must be missing Tanner Glass because he just kept shooting the puck into the glass constantly. Like he had a couple of headhunters today that oh boy, he just needs to just maybe take a little bit off that shot just to get the accuracy in. I think he's just gripping that stick a bit too hard and just trying a little bit too hard. Also, he fell over a few times. And Patterson also shooting from the blue line, like just shooting it pretty much out of play constantly, and even just getting out of the zone. That guy just kept the puck leaving the ice for the arena for some reason. But yeah, those were really my thoughts. I thought Murray had a good game. No real terrible rebounds. I mean, obviously one that led to the goal, but didn't cost them in the end. But I mean, above all else, the Penguins just had to win this game. That was the thing. You can't look into the future too much. They just had to win this game, or else it's 3 from 3. Probably not really going to happen, or at least you put a lot of pressure on yourself then to be able to do that. Where 4 from 3, 3 wins from 4 games. That sounds tough. 2 from 3 just sounds like you're beating them one more time than they're beating you. So. Off to game 3 on Wednesday, Thursday for me in Australia. But yeah, that's the whole video. So if you did last this long, hit the like button because it, helps the algorithms. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. There's more videos coming today. There was 2 fines in the NHL, so I'll be breaking those down. I also put a suspension breakdown video for the Kajula hit on Ennis, which you can go watch. That will be, on my channel videos, and I'll be doing news of the day again. So yeah, I'll be dating pretty much all the news to the very end of the day, and then sending that out, and the video will be there for when you wake up in the morning, so you can catch right up on everything that's happened. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. See you, and bye.